Hello everybody, Flik here. Welcome to the 14th Let's Chat, and I'm doing this on the Saturday before the Monday this is posted. I'm still getting over that weird cold that I'll probably whinge about in a little bit, so if you hear me a bit croaky, my throat is still sore. I may also have to edit this a little bit to try and stifle or edit out any loud coughs I do, or I may just try and look away. I think if I look away it might stifle it enough, but we'll see. Anyway, if I sound a bit weird, that is why my throat hurts. So what's on the plan today for this Let's Chat? Well, we're going to be doing Patreon shoutouts because this is the first Let's Chat of the new month. I also thought I'd chat a little bit about Elder Scrolls Online. I'm recording this during the big mega server, or whatever they're calling it, open bit. Oh, it's not quite open, but they sent out a few million invites apparently. But they're all on the one server. And I've been playing it a little bit, although because I've been feeling a bit ill, I haven't played it as much as I would like. I'm going to be playing it a bit more tonight, and maybe tomorrow going to try and record some footage of it to do kind of like a let's look at an early version. I'm not 100% sure, but so in case I don't, because I can't manage talking at length for half an hour, I'm going to kind of do a mini first impressions here. So I hope that's interesting to you. If it isn't, sorry. But yeah, I am trying to get over this damn cold. The cold escalated really quickly. I find it very hard to believe it escalated so quickly, especially because it's not the flu. Why do I know it's not the flu? Because I got the bloody flu jab before Christmas. So I'm not immune, but technically I should be able to get over any kind of flu-like symptoms super quick. So it is just a cold, it's just a really bad one for some stupid reason. And it just kind of hit me out of nowhere. I guess it's because if I usually feel the first inklings of a cold, I just kind of ignore it, maybe take the odd aspirin and hope that's enough. I'm not used to colds kind of getting the better of me like this, to the point where my whole body hurt, I could barely breathe through my nose, and I spent the night shivering in bed. It was horrible. I got barely no sleep as well, which made the next day worse. Although thankfully I then upped the medicine I was taking, so now I am getting over it. Throat's still a bit sore, my nose is still a bit blocked, so that's probably why I'll sound a bit weird when you listen to this. I mean, I was listening back to, I recorded a Let's Look At, which I think will be posted before this, or maybe not. Yeah, it will be, I think it will be. I did the Let's Look At of Heart and Slash, and I edited that afterwards, and I was like, wow, I sound weird compared to normal. And it's just the way the tone of your voice changes, I suppose. But yeah, I don't want to spend all my time whinging, especially because it's a cold, no matter how bad a cold. It's not like it's something serious, so I apologise for going on about it. Plus, I've made that mistake before, like early last year in my videos. I had a reasonably bad cold, and because I recorded so many videos across the space of it just kind of hitting me, it ended up sounding like I had a cold that lasted a month because my videos were so spaced out. So I really don't want, I want to avoid doing that because I don't want people to think that's the kind of thing that happens, and I just hit my desk, sorry for that. Plus it's not the worst thing that could happen. I'm trying to think what the worst illness I've ever had is. The most painful illness I've ever had is a really bad sinus infection. I don't know if you've ever had one of those, but it's basically a feeling of if you move your head in any kind of deviation, no, that's not the word I'm looking for, deviation at all, from the rest position that your head normally stays in, it feels like you're being stabbed in the face, which was wonderful. I mean, the reason I remember this sinus infection so much is because it basically incapacitated me for a few days, and I remember once where I dropped something while I had this infection, and I just leant over because, you know, it's kind of automatic. Oh, I dropped something, I'll lean over and pick it up. And I leant over so much that it felt like the back of my head exploded. And that's what a sinus infection is, and they're actually quite serious if they linger. Thankfully mine didn't. But that's the most pain I've ever had from illness, certainly. I guess the most serious I had, when I was 18 I had Bell's palsy, which is a form of paralysis or a kind of stroke-ish symptoms. For like a month I lost all feeling in half of my face, which is not nice. Not serious, I mean it's not life-threatening or anything like that, but it's certainly not very good for someone who's already socially awkward. I did get to wear an eye patch for that month though, so I did look like a pirate, so it had its up points. That's because I couldn't blink the eye on that side, so you had to make sure it stayed moist, otherwise your eye would die. But yeah, that was horrible. Also, that's why when my face at rest now looks slightly frowny, because your face droops when you have Bell's palsy. Although thankfully I caught it fast enough and they put you on steroids for a little while to keep your muscles strong. So, but I am more likely, because apparently someone who has it is very likely to have it again in their life at some point. It's just they don't know why. It's one of those things they can't explain why it happens. But the older you are when you get it, the more likely you are to suffer permanent damage to the drooping thing that happens. So I'm kind of glad I got it as young as I did, and so far I haven't had it resurface. But yeah, that's probably the most serious, but the most painful was definitely the sinus infection. And I really didn't mean to spend the first 5 minutes of this talking about the horrible things that have happened to me, because I'm certainly sure a lot worse things have happened to people, and I certainly don't want to diminish that. So let's just move on, shall we? This is not a place, well actually this is a place for me to talk about whatever the hell I want, but I don't want to whinge about that kind of thing. So, I want to get patron shoutouts out the way for the month of February. These are people who supported me on my Patreon page, which is linked in the description box of every video and my social media links. It means that they find some worth in what I do, and they want to help me make sure that I can keep on doing it. And I try and offer as many rewards as I can, and I hope that they find value in what I'm offering. I'm always trying to think up better ways to thank you. I'm trying to think of, like right now, this is a weird tangent, but my head's in that kind of place right now, so just let me run with it. I got a bunch of business cards made up, because you can get tons of business cards done for really cheap, and I'm actually really happy with how they came out. I mean, it seems fairly stupid to do it because most of what I do is online. I've thought of a few things I can do, and I often get invited to gaming events now. Most of the time, like say I got invited to the Smite launch, I can't go because it's in bloody America. But sometimes they're in England, and sometimes they're in Edinburgh and Glasgow, and I thought maybe, you know, take cards and make some PR contacts. It's a good way to network. So that's partly why I did it as well. On that subject, by the way, I had to miss, because I was busy, an opportunity to go to the Namco, sorry, it's not Namco Bandai anymore, isn't it? Because they, for some reason, decided that Bandai Namco made more sense. I'm never going to get that right. But I got invited to Bandai Namco's headquarters in London to try Dark Souls 2 recently, and I didn't take it up on their offer. I can't remember what the reason was. I think it was bad timing. Either way, I would have liked to have gone there, and I certainly could have made some good PR contacts to help protect my videos of the Bandai Namco content that I do. Either way, I am still chasing up a copy of Dark Souls 2, because I've heard that they're apparently making it more like Demon's Souls, so I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm going to chase that up soon, actually, because it's out in 2 weeks. There's rumours going around today, by the way, that the PC version isn't coming out until April 25th. That's a big gap, quite frankly. I'm on their like press shoot list, so every time they issue a press release, I get it. And they'd never been specific about PC date, but they always had really soon after, or some version of those words when it was mentioning that the PC release would be slightly later than the console version of Dark Souls 2. But over a month, that's... Well, it's not quite over. Yeah, it is quite over a month, yeah. That's silly. Or is it? I wonder, actually, now that I've just said that. Are they being really sly and deliberately doing that because they know the desperate PC crowd might buy a console version first and then switch over? Because Dark Souls 2 will be on Steam, and they don't want most of their sales on there because Valve takes 30% of every sale, so a lot of developers and publishers are a bit sick of Valve taking 30% of their cut. So, I'm not saying this is a good or a bad thing, by the way, I'm just kind of musing out loud because I kind of got distracted again. I guess that's the theme of this. So now to come back around to the initial point, these are the people who became patrons or were already patrons and carried over for another month that are allowing me to help ramble to you for, how long is this now? 8 minutes. 8 minutes of gibberish and provide you with daily gaming content. And I just realised I never even finished my business card story. I was trying to think of some other thing I could do that I could then include a business card with, maybe sign it, and send that to patrons of a certain level as well. However, having no skills beyond perhaps commentating and playing games, I'm not 100% sure what I could do. I could give away some of my gaming memorabilia, but I'm a hoarder, so I would find that very painful. I don't know, I'm thinking up stuff as I can, and I'm kind of bouncing some ideas around. So let me just get these names out of the way, and I don't mean that to sound flippant, because you're allowing me to carry on doing this kind of thing for a living, and believe me, nothing pained me more than realising I was so ill that I couldn't create content, because I think I've covered before in these Let's Chats that one of my buttons is having my time wasted, and that isn't just time wasted by other people. If I waste my own time by my body getting ill, that bugs me just as much. So, the following people, here are your shoutouts. Some of them are repeated names from last time I did this. Johan, Michael Millward, Colin McKesson, McKesson. I made a mess of that name last time as well, and I've read through this list once off camera, so you would think I wouldn't make the same mistake again, but I did. I apologise, Colin. Usi Kalio, I really hope I pronounced that correctly. Please do let me know if I didn't. Logan Kote, or Cote, Ippo, Matsumune, Good Rory, Silver, Travelling Panda, Christopher Gibb, Taya Blake, Coulson McDonald, Aaron Hawkins, and Scaraban. These are both returning and new patrons for the month of February who are willing to help me do this. Yes, that's what I'm motioning with my hands. You didn't get to see it, but you just have to believe me. I pointed at my PC as if like, that's this. This microphone is so good you might actually hear my hand whipping past it. Let's see actually. Yes! Oh, I didn't think I was actually going to see something on the timeline there. Let me try that again. Yeah, you can actually hear the air move. This Blue Yeti is so good. I apologise if that's an annoying noise. I'm just really impressed with the pattern. I mean, it makes a really noticeable pattern on the timeline for the audio track. So anyway, that was your shoutouts. Other rewards include Twitter shoutouts, being immortalised in the Steam group. There's a sticky there mentioning good people who deserve to be treated well because they're nice. And there's also invites to my Hearthstone series, which was on hold last week because I was too ill to film one. Unlike, say, the Monster Hunter stuff and like the Titanfall stuff, which I filmed well in advance, the Hearthstone stuff I do a couple of days before. It's like these Let's Chats, I do these a couple of days before, and other things like that, like the Patreon videos. That's the other thing. You get everybody, even if you only give me $1 a month, gets an exclusive Patreon only video every Saturday, and I film them usually a couple of days in advance as well. So the most recent Saturday one where I played Deadlay's Warrior, I can only apologise that it wasn't very good, but I was very ill there. I filmed that on the day before like the really bad night I had that I described earlier. So they're not usually that bad if you just become a patron as a result of hearing this and go see the most recent one. Watch the ones before that one. They're a little bit better. So yes, thank you again, and I hope you carry on supporting me in this way, because you know, I still can't get out of my contract with my network for another year at least, which is fun. We'll just click that list away because I'm done talking about that. And now we can talk about Elder Scrolls Online. And as I say, I'm going to try and record some Let's Look At footage tomorrow. And you know, I could technically just record the footage and then post commentary later when my voice isn't so sore, but we'll see what happens. So what are my first impressions of it? It's like Oblivion and Skyrim if, while you were playing and trying to listen to the story and the voice actors, you had someone shouting racial slurs in your ear. What I mean by that? Well, I've always wanted a cooperative Elder Scrolls game because I think that would be the most amazing thing ever. Is an MMO Elder Scrolls game that? No. Why? Because of the reason I just said. If you're playing with a friend, yeah, you might not hear all the story because you're kind of joking and having fun, but that's not quite the same as running around dozens of people and then also having a chat in the bottom corner. The people just decide to fill with random racial slurs or homophobic slurs, or just talking in horrible ways to each other, because it's the internet and that's what the internet is. Now granted, in a fairly large open-ish beta, that's kind of an exaggerated example because not all those people will be playing when the game becomes pay for. But they'll still exist, and I don't know if a good Elder Scrolls experience is having that kind of presence. The game itself, it's interesting. There's some problems with it I'd rather show in a video because I'd like to back it up by showing proof of these things I'm about to mention. But there's some poor sound editing in the game. The combat is okay actually, I quite like it. I like playing in first person, despite it being kind of like a fantasy themed MMO. You can play in third, by the way, if you want to, although I can't find a way to center the camera when you're in third person, so it's really weird and not very functional in my opinion. The main story is interesting, although this beta has very little of it. You can basically just do kind of like the first main event outside the tutorial and then that's it. You're just stuck with the side quests and whatnot. But there's quite a few side quests. The world changes as you play. I assume like different people don't see the things you've changed, they'll just see it for themselves when they've done the quest. Excuse me, sorry. I felt that cough coming quite a long way away. So am I enjoying it so far? You see, the fact I even need to struggle to decide on an answer should probably say quite a lot. Is it a bad game? No, I am actually enjoying it. I like it. I've tried a couple of classes so far. I've mostly tried the, what do they call it now? I don't know. It's like the rogue equivalent, and this gives you a few set skill trees, although you can use any weapon and any armor with any class. And I've also been trying, I can't remember what they call it. It's dragon something. But it has a lot of interesting monk-esque abilities, and there's references to Dragonborn all over the place, and I don't think it's any coincidence that the first place you end up in after the tutorial is a place just off the coast of Skyrim, and then you end up in Morrowind. So it's kind of like, I think they've deliberately made an effort with the first parts of the game, and unfortunately it's very hard to judge whether that carries on because there's so little of the main plot in it. The side quests are okay, I find it fun, but it has to follow MMO tropes. It has to be, go test 5 of these exploding bombs on so-and-so enemy. There are puzzle solving quests, which I like, although like I was doing one where you have to pick, a ghost is trapped like this Nord, and to free him you have to pick which version of him is the real one. It's very similar to what happened in one of the Alice in Wonderland. The Oz movies, not the first one, not the musical one that everybody remembers, the really dark and really sinister, really good by the way, sequels that they did. I think it was, I can't remember what they called it, but it was the second Oz movie. It's really depressing and really, really dark. It's very good. But in that there's a very, or maybe it was the third one, but in that there's a puzzle where Dorothy has to decide which things in a huge vault filled with gold and whatnot are her friends, or she'll get turned into a bit of treasure. And there's this quest in Elder Scrolls Online is very similar to that. And everybody was just kind of running into the room with me, and they were just not even putting any thought into it. They were just running up and pressing, oh, is this the right one? Nope, you die and then you respawn and you try again. And I sat and I just kind of watched them doing this. I just watched everyone just running randomly, just thinking to myself, are you putting any thought into this guess, or are you just impatient? Are you just not even bothered to pay attention to the story? So I sat and I watched all these versions to find out which was the real one. And I noticed that only one didn't have a dead body next to it, and that was the right one. You know, it's a fairly simple puzzle. You just have to stop and pay attention for like 10 seconds. But no, people are just running in and just going, oh, are you the right one? No, I failed. Oh, are you the right one? You only lose durability when you die, and it's not expensive to repair. So that's how people treat MMOs. And unfortunately, Elder Scrolls Online is no different. Now, I am going to spend some more time with it later tonight. I'm uploading right now, so I can't really. And I'm going to, like I say, potentially do a video on it tomorrow. Right now, would I suggest buying it? Well, given that Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn is now on Steam for half price, and I spent a lot of time with that, and I would spend more time with that if I had the time, I would say right now, Realm Reborn is better, and it just is. It looks better, it plays better, but Elder Scrolls Online is not bad. So that's where I'm kind of going to leave this off, because I don't want to make it sound all doom and gloom. Wait, what is that expression? Doom and gloom, that's the one. See, clearly my head is not in the game right now, and that's annoying when I'm trying to be a commentator for a living, in a manner of speaking. So I am going to finish here. My throat is killing me now. Felt that one coming too. So I'm going to go now. Thank you for your support, patrons, and if you are interested in becoming one, just click the Patreon link in the link below. If you don't, that's fine. You can just enjoy the content I produce. If you watch without ad block, you are still helping me. And you even just helped me a little bit by clicking thumbs up and commenting. That helps. Everything helps. Even if not in the literal sense, in the metaphorical sense, because it makes it feel like what I do is a good thing and worthwhile. So, stay tuned for more gaming stuff and more rambling shambles of vlogs that I do every Monday at lunchtime. Thank you for listening, and ta-ta for now.